Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is February 16, 2024, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, JP Morgan, the largest financial institution in the world, traded to new all-time record highs. But first, looking at today's major economic events. So we start out the day at 9 a.m. South African time out of Great Britain, a monthly retail sales number coming out. Then at 3:30 out of the United States, PPI, Producers Price Index, that's an inflationary report. And then at 5 p.m. out of the United States, UoM Consumer Sentiment number coming out. Now looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, major pairs unchanged while the Turkish Lira continues to trade to new all-time record lows. Now looking at the indices, the Dow Jones rebounding back to its highs while the NASDAQ just tapering and gaining just slightly. Now looking at commodities, gold did bounce above 2,000 while oil remains unchanged. And as we look at the stocks, not just JP Morgan that made new highs, also Meta, formerly known as Facebook, made new all-time record highs, and Tesla rebounding. Now lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin holding on to its gains. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So just going to cover the Euro USD and then we're going to the Turkish Lira. Now, we had a bounce off of that 107 level. Now, we just gained just slightly above it, but pretty much the Euro unchanged. Now, what I'd like to highlight here is that this downwards trend that we went from 111 back down to 107, it seems like we're tapering off from the downwards trend. It looks like we're going to consolidate in this area. Two reasons. Number one, we jumped off of a round number, a support level, and we're breaking that daily 8-day moving average and we're holding above it. And so I'm more inclined to think that we're going to just trade sideways. We may test that 107 again, but for right now, we're going to be consolidating in this area. Now jumping into the Turkish Lira, check this out. Once again, new lows, 30.77, and it's just grinding lower. It did look like it was making a reversal yesterday as it made that spike lower, but then right back up and making new lows versus the dollar. And jumping in commodities, gold did bounce above 22,000 at 2004. Again, it's trading in a range. It's not selling off. There's not like going to be a big bloodbath or anything like that, so just keep that in mind. Now looking at crude oil, unchanged day to day on that resistance-ish level. This may mean that it's consolidating around this area and we may see a breakout. So keep that in mind in the back of your head. Now looking at the Dow Jones, right back on its top. Okay, really due to some of the bank stocks. I'm going to jump into that. And the NASDAQ did come back, but just slightly. Not really anything to, make a big what to do about. Now, looking at the individual stocks, this becomes very interesting. JP Morgan makes new all-time record highs, 179. And this is a rocket ship, okay? It's a very big bank. It's a very big financial institution. There is reason in this environment that they're making so much money is because the interest rates are much higher and banks really benefit from that. And sure enough, that's where we're at right now with JP Morgan. Now, looking at the other stock that made new all-time record highs yesterday, Meta did taper off at the end of the day, but it did make new highs of 487. Look at that. That is a major, major move. And you can see that it tapered off towards the end of the day after it pushed higher. Now keep that in mind, okay, that we made new all-time record highs in Meta, and this is still a big high flyer. Now look at Microsoft, didn't do much, okay? So that rotation is happening. If we look at Apple, not a player either. Okay, if we look at even NVIDIA, didn't even do much yesterday, just retracing just a little bit. But again, it's just consolidating. So it's stock specific in the markets. If we look at Amazon, did taper lower yesterday, just slightly. So there wasn't just major activity yesterday, but JP Morgan and Meta making new all-time highs is an important element. So lastly, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin broke 52K. Okay, we're now looking at a weekly chart. It held it. Question is how much longer is it going to hold this, okay? Or is it going to break out higher? Like I said before, and I've said this maybe a million times, you want to trade this as a scalper. You don't want to position trade it because it'll just churn you out because it consolidates and then goes, consolidates and then goes. And you still got to play that game with Bitcoin as this is consolidating here at this 52K level. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day and a beautiful weekend. Thank you.